PS5 overview/tutorial. So, we actually have the release now of the UMTX jailbreak implementation from Spectre that we can actually run on our PS5s. So it has now been released. A WebKit-based kernel exploit and jailbreak for the PS5. So as I explained in my previous video, I'll leave a link to it if you want to get more information about what we can expect. But this is the initial release that is only supporting to .x firmwares. Spectre is going to be porting it to higher firmwares. He does provide some additional context here. He says this vulnerability impacts 1.0 firmware to 7.61 However, firmwares above or equal to 3.0 seem to have additional mitigations that require tweaking of the exploit to work, as I'm mostly only interested in lower firmwares. This exploit doesn't support firmwares above or equal to 3.0. Furthermore, as a vulnerability that we chain with was patched in 6.0. So another WebKit exploit that achieves userland read/write will be required for these systems. Again, as I'm not focused on higher firmwares. This is left uncompleted right now. So yeah, he's mainly focused on older firmwares. .x, but he will be porting it to 3.x and higher. It might take a little bit longer because of the additional mitigations in those firmwares, but again, we could also get a Blu-ray drive exploit implementation at any time. Now that would work on potentially higher firmwares, so yeah, it will get ported to higher firmwares. It's just, this is the initial release that targets to .x firmware right now. So luckily, I do happen to have a PS5 that is on firmware to 30. Which is one of the currently supported firmwares. So I can show you how to get it set up and running. And we actually have a self-host that Spectre released here. So you can host this on your own computer and connect to it over the network. Or you can use Echo Stretch's site, where he has gone ahead and included the exploit built in. That will be probably the best way, because you'll get automatic updates whenever something changes. So I would recommend heading over to 7.1.1.site to access the exploit at the moment. So let's go ahead and take a look at this on the PS5 itself. So to get things set up with this exploit, I grab my controller here. This is my bare bones to 30 system that I bought from a not-so-typical gamer. So thanks to him for selling me this console well over a year ago. It's just been sitting in a closet for some time now, so anyway, if we head into settings and we scroll down to our system settings, of course we're gonna make sure that we go to system software and settings and disable download, update files, and install update files automatically. We're gonna make sure those are both turned off. Then we can go into our network settings and we can go to settings. Set up an internet connection. We're gonna use a wired connection. And we're gonna go to advanced settings here. And we're gonna go to our DNS settings and change those to manual. And then we're gonna enter. I'll use Nomadix DNS, and which will redirect us over, I believe, to Echo Stretch's site automatically from the user guide. So we can go to 60 to 10. .38. DOT117, so we'll head over there. We'll set that up as our manual DNS and we'll click OK. And that will get us connected. So if we try to go to the user guide, it will probably still load the normal user guide. Never mind, it looks like it is loading Echo Stretch's site. If it goes straight to the normal user guide, you may have to log out and log back into your profile. And then go on the user guide again. You should get access to this page. And then we can go to Spectre's UMTX jailbreak. Now, if you do try this, there are situations where some internet service providers block custom DNS servers and will just redirect them to use their own DNS servers. In which case, you'll still only be able to access the user guide, or you'll just get a blank page when you use Nomadix DNS. So just set your DNS back to automatic. And then go onto the user guide. And you can navigate through the user guide page, as I'll show here. You can navigate through the user guide by going to like PlayStation.com/help and then going to account settings. And then from account settings, you can go to the PlayStation Store. And then from there, you can like scroll down on the PlayStation website, down to their links to their YouTube channel. And then from their YouTube channel, you can then go to sign into YouTube. And then you can go to privacy and terms. And then from privacy and terms, you can find the link to Google. And once you get onto the Google search engine, you can then just search for S7IN1.site. You can go to that website. And then you can get onto this page from there. So that's another way to access it. If for whatever reason you're not able to use a custom DNS server. So from here we can go ahead and select Spectre's UMTX jailbreak. So we'll select the option. We can see we're on current firmware to .30. We're gonna wait for it to cache, and now we can run the jailbreak. So I've already ran this once, and I did not get a crash. So it was pretty stable. But it did take a while to actually load first time. So quite quickly, we get to this cookie OX1337 found proc. I've noticed that this jailbreak does take quite a while to load. The kernel exploit portion seems to take quite a bit of time. Oh, never mind, this was a lot faster than the first time I ran it. Perhaps it was just particularly slow because the first time it seems to have loaded a lot faster. So we can see it is running. We have got loading the elf file. elfloader.elf loader is listening on 9.0 to 1 as far as I'm aware. There's not really any payloads available yet. Maybe Spectre put one on his Did he put a hello world test in here somewhere? Payloads, he did. There we go. So there's a hello world payload here that we could run as a test. Let's go ahead and download that. Okay. So if we open up a payload injector like netcat GUI, we can take this hello world.elf and throw it in here. And enter the IP address of our PS5 here in the host box. No, 9.0. To 1 will inject the payload and okay. Well, we never got a notification. But I assume it loaded, at least it says it injected. I was expecting the hello world notification to pop up on screen. But apparently not, perhaps that's only for 2.0. But anyway, we've got the exploit up and also running. It should have enabled the debug settings. So if we go back to our whole menu and then go back into the settings, we can see we now have the debug settings enabled. So debug settings enabled on a 2.x firmware. We have not had a jailbreak onto .x so far. A lot of people have been waiting on X for some kind of new jailbreak. Temptation has always been there to update to 3.x or because for .x. They already had a jailbreak. But if you were able to stay on your 2.x firmware, you should now be able to access this new jailbreak and here. Who knows? We might get a full jailbreak in the sense of a hypervisor exploit because we know that these 2.x firmwares are vulnerable to a hypervisor exploit. That has not been released, but perhaps it will be now that we have a public kernel exploit now available for our 2.x firmware. So that's where we are with this new exploit. PS5 UMTX jailbreak, not to be understated. I know some people will be maybe disappointed that it's only 2.x firmware, but that's only temporary. You should watch my previous video that goes over. You know the kind of roadmap for what's gonna happen. But the next thing will be obviously 3.x firmwares up to 5.x will be worked on next. Obviously, there are some additional mitigations. It may require a little bit more work. But that will be the next thing that will be ported will be 3.x up to 5.x. So if you're on a 5.x you will be able to eventually load this jailbreak through the web browser as well. And then for everybody else who's waiting on 7.x firmwares, there will most likely be a Blu-ray drive implementation at some point where we'll be able to run the jailbreak from a Blu-ray disc. While we wait for some kind of new WebKit exploit to be released. For those higher firmwares. So yeah, anyway, that's where we are right now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video or found a